Every successful crypto business eventually hits the same wall. Ad hoc compliance stops working. In this topic, you'll see how a VASP can move from reactive firefighting to a clear governance structure that regulators trust, and that actually supports sustainable growth. Compliance in crypto is no longer about waving a policy binder at a bank or regulator. It's about building a structure that can withstand stress, real investigations, market shocks, and rapid scaling. MLRO, the travel rule, and MiCA should all point to a single outcome: bank-grade governance that keeps the firm credible, bankable, and ready for scrutiny. NovaX starts where many crypto companies do. Compliance is someone's side job. Procedures are buried in shared folders, and decisions are made case by case. Then the trigger events arrive: a banking due diligence questionnaire, a license application, maybe an unexpected audit. Each one forces more structure until compliance evolves into a formal second line of defense with clear ownership, governance, and repeatable processes. In crypto compliance, every control you build needs a clear home in the 3 lines of defense model. The first line is business and operations. They own the risk: how products are designed, how customers are onboarded, and how alerts are handled day to day. The second line is compliance and risk. They set the rules, provide challenge, and advise on decisions. The third line is internal audit, giving independent assurance that the first 2 lines actually work. In a serious VASP, the second line of defense is much more than one person checking boxes. It's a mandate led by the MLRO or head of compliance, and it breaks into 4 core responsibilities. First, owning and maintaining the policies. Second, advising and challenging the business. Third, monitoring activity, escalating issues, and tracking resolutions. And fourth, acting as the main liaison with regulators when questions or problems arise. These 3 lines only work when they stay clearly separated. The business side pursues growth and owns day-to-day risk, but it cannot override agreed controls. Compliance designs the rules, monitors activity, and raises issues, but must not be measured on revenue targets. Audit is the independent checker. It tests whether controls actually work and reports findings directly to the board, not to the teams being reviewed. Governance only matters when it shows up in daily decisions. Think of culture as the hub. Policies, committees, and approvals are the spokes that reinforce accountability. The compliance committee challenges risk. The risk committee challenges the business. Product approval forums check that new features respect both. When these forums are regular, documented, and empowered to say no, your written framework turns into real-world control. In a serious crypto business, governance truly starts with the board. They set the firm's risk appetite, approve the budget, and sign off on the overall compliance framework. That direction then flows down to management and the compliance function. In return, the board should receive clear, regular reports on issues, remediation progress, and major incidents, and be ready to intervene when something isn't being fixed. Board reporting in a VASP should always blend numbers with narrative. The board needs hard metrics: alert volumes, SAR filings, sanctions exposures, backlogs, and time to resolve issues. But they also need context: the 2 or 3 incidents that really mattered, the control gaps you've found, and what you're doing about them. Think of it this way: data shows scale, the story shows risk and priorities. When compliance data is treated as management intelligence, it becomes a steering wheel, not a rearview mirror. Alert volumes, high-risk clusters, and investigation outcomes should feed regular insight reports. Those insights then drive decisions: which markets to de-risk or exit, where to double down on analytics and travel rule technology, and how to adjust product features or limits, so NovaX and FinBridge grow faster, within clearly understood risk guardrails. An independent review goes much smoother when you treat it as an audit of your whole compliance story. First, confirm your policies and risk assessments are current and actually reflect how the business operates. Then check that system logs and access rights are complete and retrievable. Have role-based training records ready to prove staff capability. Finally, track prior findings and be able to show clear evidence they've been fully closed. Policies look great on paper, but regulators care whether they work in real life. Testing effectiveness means sampling real alerts, escalations, and cases, and asking, did our controls catch what they should, and were decisions documented and reasonable? It's about turning written intent into measurable, demonstrable performance. Regulatory on-site visits always compare two versions of your business, the one on paper and the one that actually operates. Policies, procedures, and org charts set expectations. Interviews and live demos test whether people follow them under pressure. Strong programs minimize the gap. Staff can explain why controls exist, systems behave as described, and exceptions are documented, not improvised. Strong crypto compliance is never set and forget. Regulators inspect you, banks ask questions, and audits uncover gaps. Those findings should feed into concrete remediation plans, then into system and control enhancements, and finally into updated training and guidance for your teams. When you keep that loop running, governance matures alongside the business, and Nova X or FinBridge style surprises become rare instead of routine.